Welcome back to the Soulmate podcast. This is episode 4, and we have a very special guest with us here today, Zombie Joe.
Hi, everybody. Hi, thank you for having me today, Shannon and Doug. Really appreciate it. I'm excited to be on the Soulmate podcast.
We're super happy to have you.
You think you're happy? I'm super stoked. Thanks for having me. No, seriously, this is awesome.
Cool. So, yeah, Zombie is our co-producer who's helping us. He runs the Zombie Joe's Underground Theater in North Hollywood. Zombie, go ahead and share any of your previous experiences working with Doug or anything you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible opportunity to be working with Doug and Shannon on Soulmate, and it's been a really special production back home at Zombie Joe's Underground Theater Group in NoHo. We had our inaugural production. We opened January 11th amidst the Pasadena fires, the LA fires, and from the very beginning, Soulmate, even with the pre-production period leading all the way up to opening night and through the first run that got extended at Zombie Joe's Underground, instantly became just a beautiful masterpiece at the theater. And I'm so proud and excited that we were able to bring it to New York City, to Actors Temple Theater, opening on previews on April 16th, and then we open on Saturday, April 19th. It was super exciting.
Wow.
Yep. So I've just been here in New York City with the boys.
Right.
All living together, actually. Yes.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that's been a unique challenge, but an easy one.
Exactly. And and I kind of have been joining this duo with Doug and Shannon. Soulmate is their project together, their love child together. And so the fact that we've been included and we've been able to produce and help cultivate the play, that I've been a part of it, has just been, and our whole company has been a part of it at Zombie Joe's Underground to join forces. It's just been almost like a dream come true. It's been really awesome, and we do all kinds of exciting productions with and back home we're a company of I see all of our group as like superstars, and back home we have Charlotte Cocker and Denise Devon. Charlotte Cocker's our general manager, Denise Devon's our lead director. The Colonel is our tribunal ambassador, our webmaster and online manager, along with Charlie. And it's just been like a little mini tiny golden age for our group, and Soulmate really there to lead the pack with these productions that Charlie and Denise have been helming, along with Urban Death and all these shows that we've been doing.
Yes. In fact, they are wearing the T-shirts right now. They look so good.
Our Urban Death T-shirts.
On sale.
Representing.
They're $30. You can get them through the Soulmate website.
Oh, we got to put those up then.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get them.
So, Zombie, let us know, what are some of the things that you're excited for putting on this production with us?
Well, I think the most exciting thing, being here in New York City, is actually being in the center of the world and being in New York City. I mean, if we can make it here, we can make it anywhere. It's so true. And
did you make that up?
If we can make it here,
Yeah.
I think Frank Sinatra said that.
Yeah, that's right.
Or
Okay,
Liza
sorry.
Minnelli.
I was going to say that's a good line if you.
Or
if you
Genghis
coin
Khan.
That. Oh,
I'm
that's
not
who.
sure.
That's who it was. Okay, yeah.
And the most exciting thing, honestly, has just been working with Doug. We've been working for the last couple of years together, and kind of leading. It's just been getting better and better, and more. The projects have become just really launching Soulmate, and it's also, I'm really excited working with Shannon. I love these two people. They're my friends, and I'm just so lucky to be working with them, and also the learning curve itself.
Yeah.
Too, working with the talent out here in New York City, working with the legal teams, and working with the whole production team has been unlike anything I've ever really experienced. I'm not sure I'd ever want to experience it again.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just kidding. It's been a great learning curve for all of us, and a lot of the learning has come through Shannon and Doug, and being able to streamline that learning, and it's been a great opportunity. And I'm really excited to start rehearsals tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
We Doug and Shannon we've been putting together this great cast together, and step by step, and each person that we're bringing on board into the Soulmate team is we're hoping that they really have a great experience, and that they really take the ball and run with it, and we're putting a great team together. And we already have we came out here with a great team already, so yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I've always wondered, for you, Zombie, a question. When did you notice something in Doug that you were like, okay, he's gonna do it, he's gonna do some crazy things? I really want to know. I'm curious.
I think I really, the moment I met Doug, I saw that special light in him, and I just immediately liked him when I met him, so much that I offered him, I tried to get him involved almost immediately when I met him.
Very quickly.
Which normally there'd be a little bit more of a period of getting to know someone where we really try to bring him in. So we do that sometimes with special people that we meet, and it was like from the first meeting that we met him, and he said that he does music, and we brought him into a production, and I would say like maybe it was maybe 6 or 8 months into our relationship that I really saw the fortress of his talents, and his outreach, and his heart, and also we were becoming friends too, and I really grew to depend on him a lot, like to jump into these plays, all the way up to Toxic Vampire, to just before we came out here. And it seems like every show that he performs in or is involved in, he just gets stronger and stronger. I really mean this, because it doesn't happen like this every day, and especially over my lifetime in the theater, of just, if you meet someone that's really special like Doug and Shannon, you really want to hold on to them. And I'm a very covetous, for better or for worse, I'm a very covetous person. Like, if I start working with people, I want to stay with them forever. Like, you become my family, you become my world, my everything, and so I don't ever want you to leave. I want you to stay forever, and it's sort of a fault of mine, a big fault, but at the same time, I'm also willing to devote myself to you as well, in return. So so it is what it is, and it got us here. And I also really appreciate the trust. Like, I on a mere suggestion, when I mentioned, hey, this might just on a hunch, on an instinct, this show, we should take it to New York. It was instantly garnished. It was instantly streamlined into us being right here. Just a mere month later, a month and a half later.
You might want to say that, like, I don't know, it goes. I think I talked a lot about in this podcast personally about the vulnerability of art, and I mean the fact that the best art, the best storytelling comes from this vulnerability of the heart that we share. And in a way, then it makes sense to me that then the relationships you form, having your own theater, carry with it that same vulnerability, because we're instantly creating this incredible art together. And so, it's like you're taking us into your hearts, and so therefore I see that being like just a very that's obviously where emotion lies. And I don't know, so I guess it just makes total sense to me that you would want that to last, and you want to, hold the people that are close in your heart. It's very hard to lose people once they're close, in your heart, if that makes sense.
It absolutely, yeah. I mean, and it, at Zombie Joe's Underground, and all of us that work together, we all ask for that bond of trust. We front load that commitment that we ask of each other, to meet in the middle, like, and it's we ask a lot. There's nothing more. It takes the the most amount of courage to front load that trust more than anything, more than your stagecraft, more than your work ethic. We ask for the trust first, and so that really enables us to be really courageous and try things on stage that we've never tried before, and really reach for the stars. And if we land in the gutter, great. But we're constantly throwing stuff against the wall, hoping it sticks, and that's a big part of our culture at Zombie Joe's Underground. And it's just kind of like it's been that way all these years and stuff. And so we do ask a lot, and so it's not for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like looking for each new member is almost like searching for a needle in a haystack. But the fact that we've been around and we're a little more established after 34 years enables us to, with a near spotless reputation, but also enables us to really get that front-loaded trust that's key, and we depend on to make these productions possible and have them really soar right to the memories and of our audiences, and really have these experiences and these shows like Soulmate be something that our audiences will experience and never forget. They can take it with them. I know it sounds very, it might sound very romantic about that, like I'm romancing that, but it's true. We're really in it for the long run, and we want everyone involved to really, the performers, our audiences, our team, to really be able to look back and go, you know what, that was a stepping stone in my life, or that I was really able to take something very valuable from that show, from that experience. And so that's what I'm in it for. That's what we're in, and I'm in it to grow with you. I'm in it to grow with you guys and learn. Like it's already been a real learning experience, and I really truly feel like I don't know diddly, but I really believe that once I stop learning, once I stop willing to learn, is when I stop growing, and I might as well just lay down. But until then, I can keep growing and learning and getting better at what we do. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like we're like very aligned on those values. We never talked about it like so directly, but hearing you say that, it's exactly what I also think, and I think that Shannon feels as well. Is like, yeah, we're here to learn and grow and experience, and like, I don't know, like if we do feel like we know enough, then it's not a good thing. It's not really good for anyone. That's where you kind of get stubborn with your expectations, and you're not open to actually how things can be different. And that's where art lies as well, right? It's like an exploration of what's new and what's different.
It's always a fine line between, like we're like luck, like Robert Evans, the great producer, says, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And so like what you're saying is, we can never really know enough, and how do we share our experience in a kind, giving, loving way that can serve a project versus look down on a project, or how do we take our experience to aspire for like any production, Soulmate or any Urban Death, every production, even though we've done 30 Urban Death productions over the years, each production is its own living organism that's birthed from the first, it's built from the first stones forward, and so we're literally building these productions from the ground up. No matter how much experience you have, you can't start in the middle. You have to start with your team from the very beginning and build your way up with rehearsals and pre-production activities, and even just setting up for rehearsals like with Soulmate. I mean, there's been a tremendous amount of work just to get here, and just to start rehearsal tomorrow, there's just a tremendous amount of pre-production preparation to even begin that first rehearsal with scripts.
So for Doug, I have a question for you. Share with us like a favorite moment at Zombie Joe's that made you really just feel like you're really connected to Zombie, like you're like, I'm learning so much from this guy?
Okay, well, something does come to mind because it's very relevant to something that I had to deal with Soulmate, which we haven't actually talked about on this podcast yet.
Okay.
So when we did the show The Guy, Man, and Maureen, which I had mentioned, that was Dirk Voetberg's play that Zombie Joe directed, which was already amazing because I wonder if that was that the first one I did with you directing? I think it may be.
Oh, maybe.
And that one was fantastic. I saw that one.
Yes, it was fun. It was very funny. But and that's the one that, opening night I talked to Zombie after when I was very sick and I proposed Soulmate. But the lesson I learned in the moment where he really impressed me was the fact that production was plagued with problems with actors dropping out, and there was various reasons for it. Some of them, a lot of them were due to like injury and outside of the theater, nothing in the theater, but where someone called and they're like, oh, I hit my head at work today, I don't know if like the doctor hasn't cleared me to leave the house, and we're like, oh, okay, and then
he's still learning his lines.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, he would send us periodically, well after we had replaced him, he would send us periodically pictures of him and his script saying, but I'm here learning my lines, and we're like, oh, okay, and we're like, how's that head injury? Are you? But in any case, very awkward sometimes. But in any sense, then we replaced another character who dropped with someone who had, like a certain heart condition, and then that acted up, and she had to drop, and it was just. But this is at various times during rehearsal, on the way to a very firm opening night, and what could have been a lot of panic, and just feeling like this thing's cursed, we're never going to get it off the ground, was just very calm, relatively calm, and deliberate discussion. Zombie very often got Denise Devon involved, and they would just really calmly talk about their options. It's like, well, this is what we have, this is what we have to get to, let's try to get this next, and then they would just calmly come back and present a solution, and then we had that solution and we kept going until the next thing happened, right? But the thing is that we opened on opening night, even with me, oh my gosh, so many things. Even with my getting sick the day of, one of our leads passed out the night before during the last moments, and we had to take her to the emergency room. It was just so many things. But the lesson that I learned is that the show will go on. It's not that it must go on, it will go on. And it's really up to you as the director to calmly lead the group through whatever storms may come, whenever they may come, as often as they may come. And the fact of the matter is that, as Shannon said, we had an amazing show that so many people enjoyed. And the fact of the matter is no one in the audience would ever know any of these issues ever happened. So the thing that we haven't talked about on this podcast about Soulmate is that, yes, we talked about opening amongst the fires. I think we even talked about delaying a night because the cast was not comfortable. They just weren't. There was too much uncertainty on that Friday night, the 10th, or even I think it was the Thursday, the 9th, to open Friday the 10th, just because evacuation zones were still coming into effect. A lot of our cast was either in or close to an evacuation zone. But what happened was that we delayed Friday night, and we all had a plan. We were going to say Friday morning, at 9 a.m., I'm going to get on a group text, kind of assess the situation from my perspective, and then ask each cast member if they're in or if they have an issue. And so I did so. Every cast member said they were in. One wasn't responding, and except for one who wasn't responding. Then after a bit of a delay, they said, I'm out. But not I'm out for like the night, but I'm out for the whole weekend. And please feel free to recast me for this weekend's performances, which meant like literally in at that point, about 10 hours. And so from that point, I felt very panicked inside for a moment, but then I called upon my very recent memory of Zombie and Denise, just very calmly assessing the situation and just coming up with a plan. And I remember, I think I went right away to Shannon's apartment to talk about this, as my partner in this production. and said, hey, this is what's happening. Who do we know? So we have to replace this character. It's a very important character. And then we were brainstorming. We started calling people, but one of those people I called is Charlotte, Charlie Cocker, who's mentioned pretty much every 15 minutes in this podcast and we really need to have her on when we get back. But she said, it's okay, like let's think about who we have on our roster. This is our Zombie Joe's family. And she said, had you asked Raven Mahoney? And I said, no, I haven't. But I think she's working today. And she said, yes, but give her a call, or I'll give her a call. So anyway, we got around to Raven. What I realized is, like, you know what? The part that Charlotte was playing, she was in the play, was so wordy. I really wanted to rewrite it. But we didn't have time, right? We'd just been distracted by the fires and all these different things. And I'm like, I have an idea. If I know Charlotte's this good because Charlotte ended up being the last minute replacement for the last actor who dropped in Guyman. So she jumped in last minute, learned everything. So I knew in my mind, I'm like, Charlotte can learn a new part very quickly. So I asked her, I said, Charlotte, how about you take the part? You move from Dakota, which is the part that she had originally. You move to the part Chloe, and then I will see if Raven can do Dakota. And I will rewrite Dakota to make it the more of the lines I want. And then Raven will have less lines to learn, fresh. And then it takes the pressure off Charlotte to relearn the part with different lines with just a few hours to spare. So anyway, that's a lot of complexity. I hope everyone followed. If you didn't, it's okay. But in any case, that's exactly what happened. We called Raven. Raven said, hey, I'm at work. She's a dog trainer. She's training dogs. She's like, but you know what? Like, I'll do it. Raven hates me talking about this now, but I'll just mention it briefly. Raven really wanted to be in Soulmate from the beginning. I had to cast this thing so quickly. I was just kind of asking whoever was literally around me in the room at the time, because I didn't, I just thought this was going to be just a little one-off fun project for me and Shannon and whoever we get involved. But it was really amazing, and to say to Raven, like, hey, like, would you like to be in this? And she's like, well, yes, I would, because she wanted to be in it from the beginning, and say, hey, like, I'm going to rewrite a part. Give me an hour or so. We're joined by Bori again. Bori was introduced in a previous podcast. Zombie's allergic to cats, so she went right to him, of course. Okay, well, here we go, here. And so we went from, talking to Raven. I went to a cafe, rewrote the Dakota part, and then gave it to her. She learned it while she was training dogs. She got off work at about 6 o'clock, came to the theater right away, and within a couple hours was on stage, and we had our play. We had our first opening night show with that cast, and that ended up being the cast that everyone agreed the cast we should have had all along, And that's where Charlotte taught me a adage that Zombie's been saying, and now Shannon's adopted, and now I've adopted, is that you basically end up with the cast that you deserve, or the show deserves. You end up with the right cast in the end.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, those are the things. That's a long story, but that's where I learned the most from Zombie. He made the biggest impression on me. Just being calm and confident and having faith in the magic of the theater. I think it's the magic of Zombie Joe's Underground. Honestly, I don't know if other theaters can do this, because we at Zombie Joe's, you also taught us how to really work on a accelerated schedule, like a fast. But I love that because I love not over rehearsing. I like the raw expression. When I play in music, I used to play a lot of punk and a lot of jazz. The reason why is because those things you don't over rehearse them. You just get out there and you play. With jazz, you're improvising literally. So in any case, boy, he's being such a regular.
Eventually, these things, these challenges, burn out any theater company, and so there's always a for any theater group, there's like the clock is ticking at some point after 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, dealing with these human, our business is a human business. Our inventory are our beloved members, like any business has to always take good inventory and good stock if you want to stay in business. And the theater is no different, and the theater is like up there with restaurants, if not even more challenging. They can really, for the lifeline of a theater, it could really expedite, it could really move things. So a lot of our theaters, there used to be more theaters like us, like the Evidence Room and other theaters that were doing very daring, courageous material. And these challenges of casting, stuff comes up. It comes up all the time. It's up to the directors and the producers, it's up to the production team to have backup plans and make sure we could bring in performers if somebody has to leave the production. But the difference is too, for us so we've been around all these years, and each of these challenges that Zombie Joe's Underground really fortifies us, and I can't believe we're still around like after all these years, but it's because we learn these things. We learn how to put up shows. As these challenges come up, we learn about them, and it makes us stronger, whereas it can very easily destroy a company or theater companies that maybe put up 2-3 shows a year. We have our own venue. We don't have a choice. The bills are due every month. And so we have this incredible team. We're a factory for live performance. And for better or for worse, that's just the way it is. But if we had we're only as strong as our weakest link. And if we had any less of a team, I'm not sure we could. There's been times during these decades where I've been like, I don't know if we can keep this up. Like, even during the pandemic, the whole community came out and came forward to make sure that we would survive. We seemed to be very important to the community, and I didn't really understand that until the threat of the pandemic, the threat of the theaters are the worst offenders during the pandemic, just with the proximity, and just we were shuttered for 1.5 years, and we found ways to sort of keep things coming in, and just with the support of our community, we're able to survive, and it made us even stronger. We healed over like a broken bone, like healing over and becoming stronger. So, yeah.
Zombie's allergic to cats.
The thing is, I love cats, and
it's tragic.
I love your cat, Shannon, almost as much as I love you. Yeah, and so like just the fact that we're doing these podcasts is really just a wonderful opportunity to just, as far as theater, I got into the theater. I've always been in the theater, but I really, what I love about the theater the most, I think, is being a part of something. Like, I've always wanted to be a part of something. I feel terminally unique. I have terminal loneliness. Whether it's true or not, I feel just so different from my peers. From my earliest years, unable to tie my shoelaces and throwing tantrums. I have all kinds of. I did too many drugs. So in my earlier, I'm now 27 years sober, but I did too many drugs, and I'm all fucked up in the head. So I really need the fact that I can belong somewhere and be a part of something. That I have somewhere to go on a Friday and Saturday night. Except tonight, Doug is ditching us for some fun event. But no, I'm just kidding.
I'm not kidding. I am.
He is. He is. And he doesn't care about us. The fact that we're going, and the fact that we're a part of something, and I have a purpose with people I really care about, and then we have a common goal. I wonder how other people do it without. These shows that we do are like the sands of our life. Like, I mark my years and where I was in my life by the shows that we were doing at the time. And I've had my own growth, and I've hit my own climax as an artist, and we're still riding that wave as creators. We're still riding the wave. It's not, the wave hasn't crashed yet. We're still doing it after all these years, like nonstop. And it's like, when is it ever going to begin? When is it ever going to end? It's just it's just this incredible journey filled with colorful people, amazing scripts and concepts and art, and living a life of art. And the world has let me seep through the cracks and just kind of taken care of us and let me do my thing.
I was going to say that we actually had a conversation in an earlier podcast about Shannon and I relating to each other in an unexpected way of not feeling like we belonged in the world in our own ways, you know, and relating to that. And so that makes sense then that, you know, you feel that as well. But I'll say something specific about the theater, and this is absolutely true, is that I've had to my whole life artistically and in every aspect of life, actually, no matter where I am, whether it is professionally, with friend groups, any space I'm in, I feel like I don't belong in, and I don't fit in at all. And the best shot I have is to find a friend or maybe a couple friends that while I'm with them, we can at least create something together, and create something that we belong in. And then for my artistic endeavors, through bands I've had or photographic projects or whatever else, create something from scratch. At least if I'm creating it, then I belong because I've created it in a way. But what I have said, which is really still bewildering to me, but pretty amazing, and I've said this a lot in the theater, even to my cast, Soulmate, is that Zombie Joe's was the first place where I participated, and I somehow feel like I do fit in, and I do belong there. And and so many people make me feel that way, and that's really new, like very new, very unusual, and I'm still getting used to it. And it's overwhelming, but it's overwhelmingly good. It feels really good. And I'm 47 years old. I mean, I only found Zombie Joe's when I was 45. I mean, it's at 45 to like find a space where you finally feel like you kind of belong. And I tell people, like I've told others in the Soulmate cast and others, that maybe this is a place where those who don't feel like they belong. And because I feel like there's so many people there that, like, the thing we have in common is that we have nothing in common with the rest of the world, ourselves individually, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so anyway, it's just been something significant for me that feels really good.
I really love that. I feel the same way. It's such a beautiful thing.
Do you feel, what's your experience with that?
Definitely. I mean, I just feel so welcomed by the team at Zombie Joe's, by Charlotte. Yeah, and all of you guys. It's like, as a brand new actress, I was so nervous, so nervous. I was like, I don't know, Doug wants me to do this thing with him, and I trust him. I'm going to do it. But I was definitely really nervous, and I felt like it was just so valuable to, when we had that dress rehearsal,
where Zombie and Denise watched,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
That was incredible. So I really appreciate you guys so much for welcoming me, because like Doug said, even though I'm a cute girl, I have definitely felt alone for much of my life as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So thank you for creating that. Because you created it, and that's I don't know. That's I think it's made it. Think about just us talking about the difference it's made, and like the hundreds of people that have worked there, acted there, right? It's probably made a similar difference to them. So.
Well, it's nice to have somewhere to go and somewhere to belong with like-minded, and we're a theater family. I know that that term might be thrown around a lot in the arts and the theater, but after all these years, I'm confident that we're a theater family, and I feel there's a lot of growth, and a lot of us it's our home, it's our second home at least, and we really we really depend on the theater and we're the strength of all of us together to really give us like real purpose and meaning.
Can I ask about? I really want to hear a little bit more because I don't know if we've talked about it much, but yesterday we got to have lunch with Ed Gaines. We had mentioned him once before on the podcast as the guy who is invited us here, is hosting us at the Actors Temple, introduced us to this incredible team here in New York. We've mentioned Nilton before, who's a kind of the stage manager. But I would like to hear a little bit more maybe about how you and Ed met, because that's who Zombie, when we talked about New York, he said, I got your guy, and gave me Ed's number. I mean, you just said call him, right? I mean, did you guys talk? But anyway, I'd like to hear more about like how you guys connected and a little bit more about Ed in general, because I'm just learning a little bit about him. If we can touch on that.
Well, I was actually so our second location, we were in Reseda, and we'd always,
which is in Los Angeles, right? For those who, yeah.
Which is in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, and we've always been a valley theater for the most part. We had one location in Oakland briefly, but we only did rock
concerts. Which is where I spent most of my life, and I wish I knew about that then. But
I know. Well, yeah. Were you there in 1995?
I mean, I was in the East Bay, not in Oakland, but I did spend a lot of time in Oakland. Actually, my band was playing shows in Oakland at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we had been, when I came back to LA after Oakland, so this was our third location in Reseda, off of Reseda Boulevard and Reseda and Parthenia. Oh, that was our first location. Anyway, and so we'd always been like a 3-car garage, underground sort of feel, until we moved into NoHo, where our location where we've been for the last 25 years. That was our first storefront theater space on Lake Christian Boulevard. But so we were there at Reseda, and I kind of wanted us to move up into a larger space. And so my friend, I think it was my friend Peter, who ran a local North Hollywood theater zine publication, introduced me, said, you really got to talk to Ed Gaines. And Ed was very involved in the Valley Theater League, which is sort of a lightly tied union of small theaters, because at the time the NoHo Arts District was newly formed. By the time I came along, it had already been about 7 or 8 years since the real beginning of with the American Renegade Theater with David Cox and with Ed Gaines, and the two of them at the time were very close, and they turned a section of North Hollywood that cross-haired at Magnolia and Lankershim and Vineland, about a 1.5 square mile radius. And I was put in touch with Ed Gaines. He's like, yeah, you should come over to the district. So I had already been driving around on my days off. I was working as a funeral director, and I was already looking at spaces. And my grandma had left me a chunk of money that that was tough not to touch it. I put it aside. I said, I'm going to use this to put some money down and lease a new space. And so I was looking for about 2 years for a new space, maybe 1.5 years. And then I met Ed Gaines, and then I found the right space, which was not easy for us to get into. It was Bavarian Auto Parts. It was an auto parts space for BMW. And yeah, I put some money down, and we got in there, and there was a whole conversion process to convert it into a black box style theater with a big lobby. And I wish more people saw the potential of the space, but I think I was one of the only. And then so Denise Devon, my partner, and she's our lead director of our company. She was there to help build out the space, and and we were welcomed in the Valley Theater League. And at the time, the NoHo theaters were really a lot tighter. We were all doing different types of programming, but we worked together with the city, with the Chamber of Commerce. At the time, there were also annual theater festivals that we were contracted to perform, all of us to take part in. It was a little bit more, in the beginning, the NoHo Arts District was really like a budding center for art, for theater, for restaurants, and really trying to restore North Hollywood. And it's, to this day, we're an avant-garde, like, peculiar theater, and we fit right in with the peculiarities of North Hollywood. You know, the neighborhood kind of goes up and down in its commerce and in its level of peace and danger as well. But we fit right in with the street scene, with the hookers, the drugs, and with the, you know, with the scene in general. We seem to fit right in as family. So it's been like a match made in heaven. And the area could be loud at night as well. And it's nothing like Hollywood that has persistent, more challenging issues. But you know, when the curtain goes up and the show starts, it seems like the whole neighborhood kind of pays attention and lets us. We've been able to thrive in North Hollywood to where we can come to New York and stuff like this.
Amazing.
This is our third sojourn to New York City, and I have not experienced the level of class and professionalism as like Doug and Shannon have kind of really escalated the stakes for our company and really made this like a really incredible venture. And I'm really confident and praying for our success and that we can stay out here permanently and be a bi-coastal theater company, and not just every few years, a year at a time, but really this is our third time out here. So it's been, and Ed Gaines runs out here the Actors Temple Theater. He did run St. Luke's Theater for a long time. And in LA, he still runs Whitmore Lindley and a couple theater centers out next to us. So, and he eventually made the move back to New York because he's a real New York guy. And he's made this possible with he has a huge heart, and he really cares about us, and he really he's really made it possible for us to come out here and take our shot. You know, so like immediately upon calling him, first thing he said to me, he said, "Oh, you're thinking about taking a show out to here?" He's like, "I can, we can put you in the Temple Off-Broadway." He said, "Do you want to do this?" And I said, I think so. And he said, "Well, you got to decide because, but my advice is do it, because if you don't and you pass on it, you're always going to wonder, like, what could have happened, right?" And I said right there, "Okay, then we're doing this. Like, if that's your advice, then yes, then we are doing this no matter what." And so he said, "Okay, and this is how we do it." And he gave me every resource he had, answered every question, said, "Call me anytime." And I just met him in person for the first time yesterday. Me and Shannon did. And I mean, just, the warmth and I felt right away like he was like a father, a father figure. But I mean, just the trust, the calmness, I don't know, what was your first impression of him? Because you hadn't even talked to him at that point.
Yeah. I mean, he just felt like the godfather of the theater.
Yeah, literally, right? He has that presence. I did want to mention one last thing, and actually, just for you guys, like, we're at about 40-something minutes, we could probably wrap up. But I did want to mention one last thing, just because things always occur to me when we're doing these that I hadn't exactly thought about before.
Okay.
But this is like a new one. Although I've mentioned this, I'm sure you guys know. But I was I was raised in the Bay Area. I mean, when I was 1 year old, my family moved to the San Francisco Bay Area. Like I said, I was in the East Bay. I spent most of my adult life in Oakland. But the fact is that my mother grew up in North Hollywood, and my father grew up in Burbank. And they met on Lankershim Boulevard, just a few doors down, really, from Zombie Joe's. Because my grandfather, who I was talking about earlier today, he had a film processing shop there. My father was a photographer and also a motorcycle rider, and he had this motorcycle club, and he was also a drag racer in the LA rivers. And if you ever seen Grease, that was like my dad in the 50s. But in any case, yeah. But he went to my grandfather's shop to get his film developed quite often, because it was the best shop in the area. And my mom was, the receptionist often, and so that's how they met. And and my older sister Noelle was at her feet, like a little girl. And yeah, my father met her. They were both married, I think, when they met to other people. And but soon, that those relationships ended. Their relationship started, and I was born in Burbank at oh my gosh, why can't I think of the name of it? The big one next to Disney, St.
Joseph's.
St. Joseph's, yes. But in any sense, just as you were talking about the theater being born there, the arts district being born there, I was kind of born there too, And it's interesting because, like I said, I only found you guys 2 years ago when I'm 45 years old, feeling like I belong there. But I don't know. That's kind of where I was conceived too. The area, the immediate area, right? It's because Burbank and North Hollywood are right next to each other. That's like where the theater is, where my mother and father met, is literally between where they lived and grew up. And then I was born. Yeah. Anyway, that's really an interesting revelation for me as we sit here.
So magical. I always say that the creation of Soulmate is it's so fun because it's just me and Doug and everyone else finding our soulmates here.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone we're working on this project with.
Yes.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a super exciting franchise. It's much more than a production. It's like a franchise in itself, with Doug and Shannon spawning product lines from it, and merch and tie-ins with the PR, and with possible comic strips and this whole thing. We'll see. It's all very exciting, unlike anything we've ever really done before, and it's like a huge learning curve, and there's a lot of class and a lot of engagement with it. So that's like even with this podcast. So it's very exciting.
Yeah. Actually, with that, I don't think we ever really called out our PR team. We have a bi-coastal PR team for Soulmate, right, which has really come to us on the West Coast. Giselle Junio, who was someone that we were acquainted with. I wouldn't even say really even a close friend, but she came and saw Soulmate, and immediately after the show said, "I want to do PR for you guys. What are we doing?" And then just fully put herself into me and Shannon, our stories, and immediately went to work for free right away. Even for Zombie Joe's, did publicity for the 50-hour right away. That's amazing. And then when we went out to New York, Ed Gaines introduced us to Daniel DeMello, who's one of his favorite guys out here. I talked to Dan. He's like, Ed's one of my favorite people. And he has done incredible work out here, and with every day seems to bring out new interests. Soulmate seems to be, it's because we're a little bit of theater outsiders in a way, even though we're becoming very integrated in it now. We're just getting involved. That's adding some novelty and excitement for everyone, because I think that we bring these really diverse other elements into it. And like Zombie said, now all brainstorming new ideas, novel ideas. Friends getting involved, the team is growing. So outside these publicists, we're getting more artists involved, more marketing people involved, getting, just so many ideas. So it's exciting, and just being here in New York, starting rehearsals tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is how we start.
So excited.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you, Zombie.
Let's go, Soulmate! Team Soulmate.
Bye.
Bye.
We love you.
We love
And
you
come
guys.
see the show. Come see the show.